Hey guys, Patriot coming to you from the desktop with a review of the Ares Armor Effin-A MkII. This is the second version of the Ares Armor Compensator. This one happens to be in 5.56 caliber, as well as the one right below it here, which is the original version that we tested back in October of 2011. You can see right away that there's a big difference in size between these compensators. Just the amount of girth here. These are both .920 diameter barrels, and you can see that the old Effin-A, or the Mark I as I'll refer to it, actually steps up and is larger in diameter than the .920 barrel. Over here on the top, on the Mark II, you can see that the diameter actually steps down, and there's a little bit of a shoulder here to the .920 barrel. Additionally, they've added some flat sides, which gives you something to wrench on. The original Mark I here was round all the way around, and you actually had to use a strap wrench or something like that, or a piece of leather with a wrench to put this on. Another difference on the original, the Mark I, it was actually 4 rows of ports deep and 8 columns around the circumference. The Mark II is only 3 rows deep, and you can see that these are spaced a little further apart than these ports, but it is still 8 columns around. So we did lose a few ports there, but it's kind of nice because this is a very simplified system as compared to the original. Up here at the front end of the Mark I, you'll remember that this collar right here is actually threaded and removable. So if somebody wanted to stack a couple of muzzle devices for whatever reason, maybe it was on a squad automatic weapon or something, they could do that. It would add mass and more tunability, I suppose. I never found, this is so tunable as it was, I never found the need to try that, or I never needed more counterweight up here. So, which I think that would probably be the main benefit, is more counterweight, because this is letting out plenty of gas, more than enough gas to compensate. In fact, when we were shooting in that previous video of the Mark I compensator, it would handily push the barrel down if you allowed the setup to port that way. So on the Mark II, they left off that whole collar system. There's no threads at the end of this, but it also makes this thing a lot lighter. We're talking about 2.5 ounces as compared to about 5 ounces. So there's a big difference in weight there. So when I'm trying to build a nice light rig like I did on this 1022 Tactical Solutions, I'm sure I'm a lot happier with the 2.5 ounces up here versus 5 at the end of this full quartz. Now, something kind of unique to this intro, you'll notice that both of these comps are actually mounted to 1022 rifles. This one's sporting a Tactical Solutions barrel, and this is a Volquartsen. Now, these were designed to be a battlefield compensator and designed for the 5.56. So when we're only shooting 22 caliber through here, we don't have a lot of gas to work the compensator. And so on that particular caliber, on a 22 caliber, it's actually in its worst case scenario. So if it will work with a 22 long rifle, it will work extraordinarily well with a 5.56 or 2.23. And the reason why is just because you have so much more gas to effectively work and tune the compensator. When you're shooting a 22 long rifle, you've maybe got 1/10 of the expanding gas to operate that compensator. But I think it just goes to show how flexible a system the compensator is, because you can stabilize or settle the barrel all the way from a 22 long rifle all the way up to a hot 5.56 round. Now, over the years, I've tried a variety of comps and brakes on different 5.56 and 22 rifles. Here's an example of a Volquartsen compensator is what they call it, but in actuality it turns out to be more of a decorative piece. Now, that's not to say it doesn't do anything, but there is no direction coming from these ports. The hole in the end is way too big. It lets way too much gas out the front that acts as a jet or a pressure nozzle against the face of that muzzle, forcing it backwards. When it moves backwards, the muzzle will actually flip up as well. And there's no directional porting on this one, so it's expelling gases uniformly around the circumference of the device. Whereas these have the option to do that. You can let gas out all the way around, but where the tunability comes in is we're trying to stop that upward rise of the muzzle, and so what we do is we block off some of the bottom ports sending more gas through the top of the compensator and steadying that, or making it hold still and recoil straight backwards. Now, before we get too far along, I thought I'd go ahead and address some of the concerns or questions of those who might be thinking, gosh, Patriot, what in the heck do you need a compensator on a .22 long rifle for? I guess I could understand it on a 5.56, even though they don't even recoil much, but a .22? Well, here's the thing, guys. It comes down to a very simple formula, and that's basically the relative size of the target, and this is going to cover targets, large targets at long range, or small targets at close range, or anywhere in between. That's why I say relative size of your target as compared to your aiming spot, whether that's a post, a crosshair, a dot, whatever. So the relative size of the target and how fast you want to shoot. So if you're trying to put rounds on target quickly, you need more stability, more compensating effect to hold that muzzle in a constant position. Without that, the muzzle moves or jumps off target. Now, this is going to be a lot more evident on a AR platform or something like that, but you put a dot on a .22 long rifle, a dot sight, which is very easy for the eye to see how much movement there is. Put a shotgun shell out at about 25 yards, pull the trigger and watch where that dot goes. Or take a 4-power scope and try that same exercise. Pull that trigger and see what happens to the crosshair. You'll completely lose the image of that shotgun shell temporarily for, you know, a few tenths of a second before you kind of find the crosshair again and see where it's at. We're talking about tuning the gun, making it faster and a little bit more accurate with follow-up shots. That's the purpose of a compensator. Most people's experience of a compensator or a break might have come from when they were 16 and they took out their dad's Magnum hunting rifle, and it kicked them in the shoulder so bad every time that dad went and put a compensator, or a brake as it would have been known back then, and it helped to tame the recoil. Well, in taming the recoil, we're not much worried about our shoulder in this case, but we are worried about keeping that bore center line, your line of sight, on target every time you pull the trigger. Now, it doesn't erase it completely because there's still physics in motion. There's a bullet going forward out of the barrel, and there's an equal and opposite reaction rearward, so it's going to push your body slightly. And you'll see that even when I do the shooting portion of this video, even a little .22 long rifle can move around a 175-pound person or a 225-pound person. It does push you very slightly, and when that happens, your line of sight is going to move off target very slightly. But what we're trying to do here is to minimize that effect. Okay guys, now for some compensator testing. I'm going to shoot it offhand so that I can see exactly what it's doing, and I'll be watching the center of that crosshair. Not quite as easy as a dot. The magnification will help in this case, so I can watch that crosshair as that trigger breaks and see which way that crosshair is moving. .22, it's going to gas about the same from 36 grain to 40 grain. As long as it's high velocity ammo, it's going to be very similar. So we're going to tune it for that. Okay, it actually went up. I could feel that. Let me do a close-up one here for you guys. It was fairly straight back. It was a little bit up. So we're going to close off a couple of these ports down low and push some more up to the top here. Alright guys, I've got two little port plugs in my hand, and I didn't want to give up my side ports here, but in order to redirect a little bit more gas out the top, that's exactly what we're going to do. Now I don't have Loctite with me, and that would be ideal. And I can always take these back out at home and Put a little Loctite on these. Okay. Turn the gun over and get the other one here. And one thing I have found with this compensator is changing one port has a pretty dramatic effect. The more energy, gas energy that the cartridge has, the greater the effect. So I'm not expecting a massive effect out of blocking 2 ports in the case of a 22 long rifle, but let's see what we get. Reasonably flat. I'll get some more ammo. We're still going up just a little bit. Let me plug a couple ports here. Let's do that. So here's the 12 o'clock, straight up and down. And basically these 3 top rows here are still open. Aries armor is at 12 o'clock. Just so you can see there, because I'm moving the camera around a lot. So we've got 9 ports open still. What I'm going to do is close off these front 2 ports, hoping to push more gas through these rear 2 and the center 3. All right. Such nice machining on this comp. I mean, the other one was nice. This one takes it to the next level. All right, balancing the camera on my shoe here, trying to give you guys a view of what I'm doing. Oops. Try not to block my block your view with my big hand. Okay. Just keep in mind when you're looking at this, if you're confused about the orientation, this Aries armor is always at 12 o'clock here. You can see it's timed perfectly. All right, I'll show you what we got. Now we've blocked this port and this port, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7 ports open still, and all the gas will be coming out through those in this little T shape, sort of. So let's see what that gives us. All right, here we go. All right, so those 2 ports were noticeable. It's pretty flat right there. I'm not pulling in on the gun. I'm just kind of, I've just kind of got it sitting out here, giving it mild tension in. So that feels pretty good right there. Pretty good. Pretty smooth, guys. I'm real happy with that on a 22. I think I'll leave it right where it is. Can always tune it later if I decide to do something different or change loads or whatever. But right now for this high velocity stuff, that configuration is just fine. I've used full Quartzen, I've used one that Clark sells before, I've used a lot of different comps, 223 caliber comps on 22s, and none of them work. I mean, it's better than nothing, but this is almost perfect. So it's a night and day difference. Real impressive product. So we're gonna leave it right where it is. Alright guys, had to end that one kind of abruptly because I lost some footage there, but that's why I wanted to come and do a follow-up. As you can see, the Compensator does tremendously well, even on something with as little gas as a 22 long rifle. You put this on a 5.56 comp, and you're probably only going to have maybe 4, maybe 6, maybe 8. It's going to really depend on your load, your rifle. And that is what's so cool about this Compensator, is that you can tune it to your specific setup. Not only your specific rifle, but your specific offhand hold. Everyone's going to hold a rifle a little bit differently, and some people are going to induce more stability than others. It's nice that you don't have to settle for one gas output. Now, a lot of people will actually try to tune their rifle by selecting a load that works best for them. Now that's fine, but you don't have to settle for a load that isn't ideal when you're running the Effin-A Compensator. Now we'll probably put this on a M16 type or a full auto M4. If you guys want, let me know. Just like the video, and I'll take by that you'd like to see this comp work on a full auto. If you haven't seen the other video, go back and check that out, but you can see how effective this version 1 is. Is there anything that I wouldn't put this on? The only reason that I wouldn't put this on something is if I didn't want the extra 2.5 ounces. Let's say this little AGP arms takedown right here that I have. Maybe I don't want that extra 2.5 ounces out here on the muzzle, and therefore I've just got a little collar at the end of this one. But this is a pure backpacking rifle. This is a 3.9 pound setup that I would put in my backpack. I don't even run a forend on it. So in that case, ounces count, and maybe then I wouldn't use it, and maybe follow-up shots are not that important. But anything that you're trying to put on a speed machine, on a tactical 22, you might highly think about getting this comp. This thing comes in at about $89, which is the same price as the original. I think originally this was about $100, and then they dropped it, and this one's actually $89. There's actually more machining steps in this comp, so I'm glad to see Aries Armor offering the Compensator for that price. Now the Effin-A Compensator actually comes packaged in a prescription medication container, and it's kind of some neat marketing. If you didn't see the original version, it says, "Take for the management of recoil symptoms. If symptoms persist, adjust as needed. For severe cases, reevaluate technique." How cool is that? It's got some other clandestine kind of stuff on here as well. It does come with plugs. It comes with a crush washer so that you can time this properly on your rifle. It also comes with an Allen wrench or an Allen key to install these. Now I found that virtually any Loctite will work. If you use red, you'll have to heat this up a little bit in order to remove the plugs. If you use blue, it gives just the right amount. In fact, there's a couple on here that I don't have any Loctite on, and they're not coming out, so the plugs seem to seat very well. Those are these little guys right here in this container, and it comes with plenty of plugs. I think it actually comes with a plug for every hole on the Compensator. And as you saw in the video, on this setup I'm running 5 open ports. No, I'm running 7 open ports, and on this one I think I'm running 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm running 16 open. And the reason I can get away with 16 open on this one is because there's more mass up here on the muzzle end of the gun. So we've got 5 slightly, I think 5.1 ounces as compared to 2.5. So this one I'm having to run more gas out the top, whereas this one I can have a lower pressure porting. By having more ports open, it lowers the pressure. By closing the ports up, you raise the pressure and raise the compensating effect. Anyhow, hope that helps, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like the video if you want to see this on a full auto, and I'll take care of that for you. Catch you later, guys. Patriot out.